All right, get ready for this. We're doing a deep dive today into one of the classics, a locked room murder mystery.
Oh, exciting.
We're going to a luxurious mountain lodge. You know, picture it. Snowed in, totally cut off from the outside world.
Isolated?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. Someone ends up dead, and everyone who's trapped inside is a suspect.
Sounds like a classic setup.
Oh, it absolutely is. And your challenge, if you're up for it, is to try to solve the case with us.
I love a good challenge.
Me too. So, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay, so first, our victim is Oliver Beckett, the wealthy owner of this very lodge. He's found dead in his study.
And the study was locked from the inside,
You
right?
got it, locked from the inside. But there are a few things that are, well, a little odd. A spilled glass of red wine and a smashed pocket watch just sitting there on his desk.
Interesting. Those details could be significant.
Yeah, I think they definitely are. Especially that broken pocket watch. It just seems a little too convenient, don't you think?
It's a classic misdirection tactic in these types of mysteries. The killer wants to make it seem like the murder happened earlier than it actually did.
Yeah, manipulating the timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that broken pocket watch could be a key part of that.
Okay, so let's talk about the suspects. First up, we have Clara Beckett, Oliver's wife.
Ah, the classic inheriting spouse.
Right. I mean, they did have a pretty big argument about his will earlier that day.
Well, inheritance is always a strong motive. Money can make people do crazy things.
Absolutely. And here's another interesting detail. Clara has this suspicious red stain on her sleeve.
Ooh, a potential clue. Or just a clever misdirection.
We'll have to see. Okay, suspect number 2. Henry Calloway. He was Oliver's business partner.
Ah, so there's a potential business rivalry angle.
Yeah, there's definitely some bad blood there. Apparently, Oliver cut Henry out of a big deal, and they had a huge falling out.
Okay, I'm seeing a possible motive.
And to make things even more suspicious, Henry's found with a wine cork in his pocket.
Why would he be hiding a wine cork? That seems a little strange.
Right. It makes you wonder if it's connected to the spilled wine in Oliver's study.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Every detail matters in a locked room mystery.
For sure. All right, next up we have Sophie Gale. She's a journalist who's staying at the lodge to write an article.
Okay, so what's suspicious about her?
Well, she says she was outside taking photographs the entire time, which would give her a pretty solid alibi.
But was anyone with her? Could anyone verify that she was out there the whole time?
That's a good question. And remember, it was a blizzard outside. Visibility would have been pretty limited.
So she could have seen something or someone without even realizing it.
Exactly. You never know. Okay, our final suspect is Liam Hart, the lodge's caretaker.
And what makes him suspicious?
Well, he claims to have been in the kitchen at the time of the murder, but get this. Detective Ivy, who you'll meet in a minute, finds glass shards in his boots.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
Nope, it doesn't. It definitely raises some questions.
Like, how did those glass shards get there? Were they from the crime scene? We need more information?
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all ties together. Now, speaking of Detective Ivy, she's actually on vacation at the lodge when all of this goes down.
What a coincidence. Or is it?
Right. I mean, talk about being in the right place at the right time, or maybe the wrong place, depending on how you look at it.
It definitely adds an interesting layer to the mystery.
Absolutely. So Ivy doesn't waste any time. She starts interviewing each suspect right away, looking for any inconsistencies in their stories or, signs that they're lying.
Classic detective work. Pay close attention to their behavior. Look for any slip-ups.
And she notices a few things right off the bat. The red stain on Clara's sleeve, Henry's weirdness about the wine cork, Liam's suspicious explanation for those glass shards. But here's the thing. They all have somewhat plausible explanations, at least at first.
So the question is, are they telling the truth or are they really good liars?
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so tricky. Everyone seems suspicious.
This is a real puzzle.
It is. But just when you think you have a handle on things, Ivy finds something that changes everything. She's looking around the lodge, trying to figure out how the killer could have possibly escaped that locked study, and she notices something about the ventilation system.
The ventilation system, what about it?
Well, remember, this lodge is old. It has this whole network of vents connecting all the rooms.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did she find?
Well, you'll have to wait for the next part to find out.
Oh, come on. You can't leave us hanging like that.
You'll just have to tune in next time to see what happens next.
All right, fine. But I'm already hooked.
I know, right? This one's a real head-scratcher.
Welcome back, you guys. We're picking up right where we left off with this locked room murder mystery.
So, Detective Ivy is starting to suspect that maybe, just maybe, the killer used the ventilation system to get in and out of Oliver's study.
Yeah, it might seem a little far-fetched, but in a locked room mystery, sometimes the most unlikely explanation is the right one.
Right, it's all about thinking outside the box. But how could they have possibly used the vents? They're too small for a person to fit through.
That's the key. They didn't use the vents to physically get in or out. Think about it. Sound travels through those vents. What if the killer used something thin, like a wire, to unlock the door from the outside?
Wow, that's pretty clever, but wouldn't that take a lot of skill? I mean, like threading a needle through a maze.
Oh, absolutely. The killer would need a really good understanding of the lodge's layout and the ventilation system.
And how would they even get the wire back after unlocking the door?
Maybe they had some kind of hook or something attached to it. It's all speculation at this point, but it's definitely a possibility.
So Ivy gathers everyone in the lounge, right? She lays out her theory about the ventilation system.
The tension in that room must have been incredible.
Oh, I bet. Imagine everyone sitting there thinking, wait, could that actually be how it happened?
And remember, at this point, everyone still thinks Sophie has a rock-solid alibi because she was outside.
Yeah, taking photos in the middle of a blizzard.
Right. So Ivy turns to her and asks, "Did you hear anything unusual while you were out there?"
And what does Sophie say?
Sophie hesitates for a second, like she's not sure if she should say anything.
That's interesting. Do you think she was trying to protect someone?
Maybe. Or maybe she was just scared. But eventually she admits that she did hear something.
Oh, this is getting good. What did she hear?
Muffled voices
Ooh.
coming from the vents. And get this. She thinks the voices belong to Clara and Henry.
Wow, that's a major twist. So not only does this place Clara and Henry at the scene of the crime, but it also means Sophie's not just a witness.
Yeah, she's like a key player now. But
Yeah.
the question is, what were they saying?
Right, we need more than just muffled voices.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Sophie had her camera with her, and she happened to be recording at the time.
You're kidding. What a stroke of luck.
I know, right? It's like something out of a movie.
So what does the recording say? Spill the beans.
Well, it's not crystal clear, but you can definitely hear snippets of a conversation. And it's pretty damning. Clara admits to putting something in Oliver's wine.
Oh, wow, so she poisoned him.
That's what it sounds like. And then Henry starts talking about how he's going to make it look like a locked room mystery.
So they were in cahoots. They planned the whole thing.
It seems that way. The recording definitely paints a pretty incriminating picture.
But is it enough to convict them? I mean, it's kind of circumstantial, right?
Yeah, a good lawyer could definitely poke some holes in it. They could argue that the voices aren't clear enough or that the recording was taken out of context.
So Ivy still needs more evidence. She can't just rely on this recording.
Exactly. She needs something concrete that links them to the murder without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out in the next part if she's able to do that. Okay, so we're back, and we've got this recording of Clara and Henry pretty much admitting to murdering Oliver. But you're right, Ivy still needs more than just that.
Exactly. She has to connect all the dots, find that undeniable proof.
Right. So let's go back to that broken pocket watch. I just can't shake this feeling that there's more to it.
You're right to be suspicious. It wasn't just randomly smashed. Ivy discovers Henry broke it on purpose.
So he could mess with the timeline?
Yep, make it look like Oliver died earlier than he actually did.
Clever, but also risky. I mean, what if Ivy hadn't figured it out?
Well, that's the gamble a killer takes, right? But Ivy's no slouch. She notices the position of the watch hands doesn't match up with Henry's story.
Uh-huh. So the watch actually backfires on him.
Exactly. And then there's the wine cork, the one Henry had in his pocket.
Oh, right. You think it's connected to the poison wine?
Turns out it's a perfect match to the bottle Clara used to poison Oliver.
No way. Talk about a smoking gun.
Ivy's very thorough. She compares it with every other cork in the lodge, just to be sure.
And it's the same one. Wow. Okay, but what about those glass shards in Liam's boots? That always seemed a bit off.
Well, remember Lean said they came from the storm windows?
Yeah, but something about that never sat right with me.
Ivy felt the same way. She realized the glass shards were a totally different type of glass. Not from the windows at all.
So where did they come from?
The kitchen. She finds matching shards there, suggesting there was some kind of a struggle.
Wait, are you saying Liam was involved after all?
More like he got caught in the crossfire. Turns out Liam overheard Clara and Henry talking about their plan.
He tried to stop them.
That's right. There was a fight, which explains the broken glass in the kitchen.
So Liam wasn't a suspect, he was a witness. Wow, this case just keeps getting more and more twisted.
It just goes to show you can't always judge a book by its cover. And sometimes, even the quietest characters have the most important stories to tell.
Totally. So what happens next? Does Ivy arrest Clara and Henry?
With all the evidence she's gathered, it's game over for them. She's got the recording, the broken watch proving Henry's lying about the timeline, the matching wine cork, and now Liam's testimony backing it all up.
Wow, she really cracked the case wide open.
She did. She's a fantastic detective, always paying attention to even the smallest details and never giving up until she finds the truth.
It's pretty amazing how she was able to put all the pieces together, especially with everyone trying to mislead her.
That's the mark of a great detective, seeing through the lies and connecting the dots that everyone else misses.
Well, this was a wild ride. It just goes to show, even in the most confusing situations, the truth always has a way of coming out.
And that sometimes it takes a fresh perspective, a bit of luck, an unexpected witness to unravel a complex web of deception.
Exactly. So, what do you think our listeners can learn from this case?
I think it highlights the importance of observation and critical thinking. Don't just accept things at face value. Question everything and always look for those hidden connections.
Great advice. Well, I think we've reached the end of our locker room mystery deep dive.
We hope you enjoy joining us as we unravel this intriguing case. It's a reminder that even in the most seemingly impossible scenarios, logic, deduction, and a keen eye for detail can prevail.
Absolutely. And until next time, keep those minds sharp and never underestimate the power of a good mystery.